My first snorkeling experience, I remember it really well. It was with my dad on the Vetter River in Abbotsford. I was probably about 14 and we were looking for lures on the bottom of the river.
You've got nothing left to do but face what's in front of you.
And while my dad constantly looked for lures, I started to look at the fish, and that's when it really started for me. I'm Chris Walling. I'm a river snorkeler on the west coast of Vancouver Island. So to describe river snorkeling on the west coast, it's dynamic. That's the word right there. It's always moving, it's always changing, and it seems every time you look around the rock, there's some sort of weird wonder there. Yeah, you know what I mean? There'll be in the shallowest water, there'll be an 18-inch cutthroat just sitting behind this rock, and it's so fast and moving. It's West Coast is dynamic. I really enjoyed to capture an image of a fish. It's one of the things I enjoy doing. So part of my enjoyment from fishing was the capture, the picture, and the release. It was part of the whole experience. It's hard to explain. It became more of the experience of being able to see the fish in its wild element and to capture a picture of the fish in its wild element. It's just not the same to hold one exhausted in your hands than it is to see it fully vital and moving in the current. Some awesome maples and stuff in here. A lot of the photos that I do, I just set the camera on time lapse. And it takes a picture every half a second, and I'll get 4,000 photos, and 3 of them will be pretty. I'm an angler now, but only in a social sense. So if I have a friend come over from the mainland and he wants to go fishing for the weekend, then I'll be an angler, because you can't have your interaction while you're underwater. Otherwise, just going angling, I don't do it much anymore. One of the hardest fish for me to capture in the water is a fresh run Chinook.
So it's not steelhead.
It's not steelhead. Steelhead are so predictable, and they're so territorial that they will actually defend their rock while you approach them. They'll flare their fins. They'll get this really it's hard to they'll take their pectorals and they'll do this towards you, and some of them will actually go after the GoPro itself. Oh yeah, at the red flashing light on the GoPro, they'll come up and they'll smack the GoPro. The gear to get started into river snorkeling, primarily what I have on here, for what you can see. In the West Coast, a 7mm wetsuit is probably the best one if you want to snorkel year round. I use my wading boots that I use for fishing instead of flippers, because I do more walking than I do snorkeling. A good belt knife usually is just super handy. You're naked in a wetsuit in the middle of the woods. You never know when something's going to come up. And I actually needed it to cut a boot off that had been entrapped. So I had a boot that was entrapped in a boulder. Even with the laces undone, I couldn't get my foot out, so I actually cut the boot off so I could get my foot. It saved my bacon. A good entry-level mask is plenty, and that's really about it. It's really basic. I think that's it.